For 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I oppose the Brown Amendment, and I'm very disappointed by this attempt to politicize a bill that's meant to help our men and women in uniform. This amendment would require contractors to generate an annual report collecting data on the racial, ethnic, and gender composition of their board of directors. The report would also have to include each company's plans for racial, ethnic, and gender diversity among its board and a summary of participation in diversity programs. This information would be required for any defense contractor awarded more than $150,000 annually, which basically means every single small defense contractor in the country. It is time-consuming and expensive, and the information being solicited by this amendment is mostly available on a company's website anyway. But more importantly, can anyone explain how pronoun training will make a defense industry more cost-effective and more lethal? Of course not. No one can explain that. But we do know it will waste company time. And common sense tells us that conservatives and Americans with no political agenda will be less likely to seek employment at these types of companies. Can anyone explain how the number of white, black, Hispanic, or Asian board members is supposed to affect the quality of a contractor's product? Can anyone tell me how the department will use this information to improve acquisition outcomes? I challenge anyone in this room to tell me what they consider the ideal racial makeup of a contractor's board of directors that would allow them to best contribute to our national defense. No one would dare answer that question because it's ridiculous and it's offensive. So why is the House Armed Services Committee trying to collect that information? Over the past 2 years, Democrats have tried their best to strip our military of its apolitical nature. The Navy put an extremist critical race theory manifesto on its official reading list. Meanwhile, there was a DoD stand down to combat, quote, extremism. There were no religious or viewpoint exemptions to the vaccine mandate. Is there any evidence that wokeness has increased our overall military readiness? There is none. But some would like to inject that same leftist agenda into private contractors. Why? This isn't about strengthening our military. This is about political ideology. Congress should be focused on preparing our military to deal with Russia and China and keeping our country secure at a time of unprecedented global chaos. But instead, we're focused on the radical left's political agenda. It's shameful. And once again, the bill author cannot cite one single example of how the language in this amendment would affect any contractor in America or why it's necessary to begin with. And for that, you should all oppose it. I yield back.